Welcome to another edition of Westpark Wednesdays. My name is Fred Said. Today I'm going to talk about, can a buyer buy a home that's occupied by a tenant and that tenant has a lease contract that's going to last for another year? And the answer is yes. See, when a tenant rents a home, for example, in Westpark, and they start today and their contract says, I'm doing a 12-month lease, that tenant has legal rights to occupy that residence for 12 months. And if that homeowner decides to list it today all of a sudden and sell it, the buyer that's going to buy it can still buy it and can still move in before that tenant's lease is up. The only way that's possible is if the tenant agrees to shorten their lease amount or lease term and move out sooner. Now what will happen is this, and I'm doing this almost every single week with a new listing that pops up because there are investors of mine that are listing and selling their homes even if there's a tenant living in them. And this is how it works. When I list a property, that's one of my investors, for example, and there's a tenant inside of it, and I get an offer from a buyer that wants to live there, simultaneous to me negotiating the buyer's offer with the seller, I'm negotiating on behalf of the seller with the tenant to move out sooner. So it's more complex than a normal transaction, but we do it all the time and it's completely normal. You just got to make sure everything is done the way it's supposed to do. That's why it's so important in this situation. If you're a buyer working with a buyer's agent or you're a seller working with a listing agent, and this situation pops up, that buyer's agent or that seller's agent has to be experienced enough to know how to negotiate this, not just verbally between all parties, but in writing, because it can create one heck of a mess if it's done otherwise. So any questions whatsoever, whether you're a homeowner in Westpark or a buyer that wants to buy in Westpark, contact me 7 days a week at 949-274-3733. For everything Westpark related, as always, go to www.livingwestpark.com and tune in next week for another amazing edition of Westpark Wednesdays. Why? Because that's what Fred said.